And still on the business show. I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. We just looked at all of the business stories making the headlines and trending since Monday. And it's time for us to go in to look at other things, especially if you are a business. Now, if you have a business and you manage people, you manage resources, there are tendencies for things to go south, right? I mean, no one is perfect and mistakes happen. But then how you manage those mistakes, how you manage some information matters. And that's what we call PR. So today we are looking at managing corporate communication, especially in times of crisis. You know, how you can, especially, let's take Nigeria as a product right now, as a business right now, looking at everything that is happening. How can you manage this situation? How can you manage this crisis communication? How can you use PR to mitigate some very, very diverse effects that could come up as time goes on in businesses? So first of all, I'm just gonna let Eizu take us through all of this to give us more of the technical terms, and then we'll come back to ask more questions on that. So first of all, why is it even important in the first place to have to know how to manage crisis with communication?
Okay, so first of all, as long as we're humans, we would always have incompatibility of goals. And those incompatibility of goals is what you call conflict. So as long as we exist, there'll be conflict. And conflict is not just between two people. Sometimes it's between you and the brand you're buying from, or between the brand and the customer that is buying from them. I mean, for example, you go to the banking hall and sometimes someone is spoken to rudely and then the person goes really upset and then the person gets upset. I've been in the banking hall where a customer slapped a teller, and the teller retaliated, and it almost looked like a riot. But then somebody caught the part of the camera where only the teller slapped back, and that's a huge crisis. They're going to drag you, right? So those are everyday scenarios. Or we saw what happened with H&M. H&M a few years ago in South Africa, one of the biggest retail store fashion brands. You know, they did a photo shot with a black guy, and the black guy wore a shirt called "A Monkey in the Jungle" or something, and it went viral. You know, and that led to riots, and they had to shut down that store. And they lost a lot of capitalization. A few years ago, one of the biggest oil companies of Enron, 2001, had a crisis that shut down a whole energy company. They went from $100 and something per share to $0 per share. They shut down. That was actually the death of Arthur Andersen. Anybody that was in the 90s know that Arthur Andersen was a dream company for consulting, or like KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, because they were the accountants. So every now and then, there's always crisis. Not talk about the Niger Delta, the role that the 4 oil and gas companies have played in degrading that environment. And there are places where you go to, and once the criteria for them to kidnap you in some parts is that you work in one of those oil companies, because people are upset about them. I mean, fishery. So there's always going to be crisis. It's how you manage the reputation of your brand that is important. There's only one Nigerian plane crash. They've had a series of plane crashes in this country, uncountable, but there's only one airline that survived a plane crash because they had a great PR. Right? I mean, I remember when they're trying to come back and they used, I think it was Basket Mouth to drive that agenda. You know, Basket Mouth was their brand ambassador. But you can see that brands rise and fall like empires do, right? Empires will always rise and fall. I mean, once upon a time, Egypt was the greatest country in the world. Then it moved to Greece, which is Greek. Then it moved to Romans. And then now it's back to US and UK. And then we suspect that the next world power, or the next big world power, would be China, right? So you see, but once again, how you manage that reputation is extremely important, right? PR, how you are perceived. The only thing more important than what you'd ever sell is what you make the buyer believe that he's buying. I'll say that again. The only thing more important than what you're selling is what you intentionally make the buyer believe that he's buying. So that intentionality in communicating how you want to be seen, right? Perception, maybe not even reality. Right? Maybe not even reality is extremely important. I mean, look at Lady Gaga. You assume she's very controversial, she's crazy, but people that know Lady Gaga want to tell you that she's one of the shyest people.
Oh my Jesus.
She's a very shy person, but you see what the PR has done,
yeah.
Right? Michael Jackson was the glow of 80s and 90s. Everybody knew Michael Jackson, but people didn't know that behind Michael Jackson was this young Jehovah's Witness boy who literally was just, calm and, talks really softly and all that. So PR is really the arts and science of intentionally conveying your information to all your stakeholders. Intentionality is the key word. Convey an engagement of your information is key as well.
Yeah, will it be safe to say that PR is basically what we call packaging in low term, right? Apart from branding, of course,
Yes,
branding is packaging, but then PR is like the communication
of that
aspect,
packaging, yes.
Yeah, of that packaging. So basically, every business needs that.
Absolutely. As you go bigger, you need it more.
Yeah, you should be able to speak your brand. Great. Okay, so let's talk about corporate communications in business, right? Was the thin line, or was that line, or is there really any difference between corporate communications and PR?
Yeah, I think one is a bit more admin driven. Corporate communication looks a bit more serious minded. Corporate communications, if you think of corporate comms, right, you'll be thinking of just perception. Let's get perception, right? If you look at corp comms, you'll be looking at a corporate guy in the office who's sending newsletters out, sending emails out, journalism. Actually, as time goes, PR is overtaking, right? Because communication become more informal. So corporate communication, like it sounds corporate, is a bit more formal. PR is a bit more witty and stylish. But literally, they're interchangeable, very interchangeable words, right? They both work together. As a company becomes really big, they can break down PR from corp comms or put corp comms under PR.
Well, corp comms,
Corporate communications.
Yeah, of course, corporate communication is so broad. I never thought that it could be put under PR. But then it's all in the communication. Now, in all of these things, one key word is communication, right?
Yeah.
And most people are not the best communicators. That's one soft skill that has been overlooked over time. I mean, if you are making money, why do you need to communicate, right? Why do I need to talk? Why do I need to speak well? I mean, if I'm bringing the results, right? Why do I need to talk? So I just want us to address that. How important really is communications in a business?
I think it's everything. Like an average CEO, there was a statistic that said the average CEO will spend 70% of his whole life, his work life, communicating. In project management, I remember I was doing my PMP and they said that every project manager must spend 70% communicating. You're talking. Most people don't even realize that the most communication is actually non-verbal. The vibe you carry, the appearance you carry. So it's extremely important. It's what you spend most of your time doing. As human beings, if you're not sleeping, you're probably communicating. Even when you're eating, you might be communicating. Like, I mean, you go to a posh dinner table, right, tuxedo wearing, right, and you decide to not use your cutleries, right, properly on your table manner. You're already communicating that you're a bushman, literally, in that conversation. So sometimes it's non-verbal, right? It's the body. I remember the first 1 year of Buhari, everybody was saying body language.
Yes,
and Buhari's been consistent with not talking to Nigerians.
Yes.
I mean, if you want Buhari to talk to you, he will travel abroad and talk to you from abroad, you know. But that also shows you that that's even a form of communication in itself. I'm sure if everybody does a research on all the presidents ever had, the least verbally, in verbal communication would be a Buhari, and that's his style, right? But then again, I also think that's also how he protects his brand, right? Because if I didn't say it, you cannot misquote me, right? So, and then on the other hand, every time someone speaks, you know, there would always be a town hall for the Bala Blue, you know, and it's always that type of thing. So communication is always a thing. So, but verbal and non-verbal. But more importantly, I think as CEOs, you should take a crash course on actually being able to communicate, from public speaking to one-on-one engagement to knowing when not to talk. When not to talk is also part of communication. Silence is golden, right? And people don't understand even how that is, right? But as you grow bigger in your company, you've got to be able to engage people. Right, you've got to have a plan. Sometimes engage even through others. That's why influencer marketing is so key, because brands rubber from brands. If I don't know your brand, but I know somebody well, and that person carries your brand I don't know, I automatically know your brand, right? You know, so, and the kind of brand ambassadors you even have in that corporate communications is sometimes very key. One of the most brilliant things I saw, I don't know, was it Yaradua or someone, one of the most, I know it was one of the powerful things was when they moved Dora Queenly from NAFDAC to making her, I think, Minister of Information. That was brilliant, right? Because not like she's a doctor, so she probably doesn't have the criteria, the credentials to be Minister of Information, but because it was important, she already had a brand that needed to leverage on, which was they trust her, they believe her, she looks upright. So anything she said, and at the point where it almost looked like they wanted to start using her to funnel lies. I love how people will never, if history will never, should never forget that it was Dora Queenly that first stood up when Yaradua was sick for months, and we didn't have a president. She was the first person to speak up, and that was deep in itself, right? And she took that whole assertiveness even to her grave, and may history never forget how powerful and the role she played in creating that transition for Jonathan to become president. So communication is also about being assertive and riding through people who should say the thing the best. You don't have to be the one say the things the best. Moses never really spoke in the Bible. People don't know that. Every time Moses went to see Pharaoh, he wasn't the one talking. It was actually Aaron that was talking, because he was a stammerer. He stutter. So most people do this mistake. Because you're the MD, you think you must be the face. You might not have to be the face.
So it's basically identifying. Someone said that if you are a CEO, you have no business really to even as little as deciding what kind of coffee people take. All you just need to do is put the right people there.
Absolutely.
Bring in people with the skills, coordinate the activities, and listen.
Absolutely.
Yes, honestly, when you talked about Dora and all of the things that she did, and Yaradua, and oh God, great people, it's just so funny that this is not even up to 20 years ago, and look at how far we have fallen. But then let's stay away from that. Okay, coming to communication. When you talk about communication, the people you're communicating to really matters, right? And every business has its own audience. It has its own customers, right? So it's really important that we address this. How important is it for a business to understand their audience, even when it comes to communication?
I mean, it's when you say how important, it already answers itself, because it has to be very important. Is how you make that happen that I think the question should really be. I think people should know their audience, right? Especially when you, depending on the business you type of business model you run. If you run B2C and B2B, B2C means you run retail. If you run B2B, it means that your main customers are corporates. It's a different communication, right? If you run B2C, you've got to know your markets, the age grade, the gender that buys most from you, where they stay, what they like, right? But if you do B2B, you want to know stuff like the location, their strategic partnerships and all that. So it's really important, if you ask me. Very important.
Okay, it's really important. So guys, we have been discussing managing communication, especially when it comes to crisis. And we're going to be focusing on that when we come back from this short break. But we have to go and, discussing crisis management. You've got Daisy, you've got Eizu right here in the building. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. Time check is 40 minutes gone past the hour of 9. And yes, every Thursday right here on the Business Show, we give out goodies. So what are we giving out this morning?
Business Strategy Brunch session tickets, right? So we started this series in Hexavian. Hexavian is a business and management consulting firm, 13 years deep in management consulting, at over 100 businesses restructured. So we started this thing with our CEOs, which is called the Hexavian Strategy Brunch, HSB. So after this session, we're going straight every Thursday to have brunch. So if you want to join those brunch sessions and you are around VI, right, it's in CCX. CCX is in Kofa Biomi, right? So we're going to give out brunch tickets, right, to people who are listening and can answer some of the questions that we asked, some of the things that we're saying, sum up some of the things we're saying. And so the Hexavian brunch session is every Thursday brunch, courtesy of Hexavian, where CEOs, MDs, and their team meet up over brunch to discuss MBA in a box, right? So anyone who knows me knows that I have 4 masters and 2 MBA. 2 of them is an MBA. So people say MBA is complex. They don't understand all that complex grammar, right? So I'll break it down in case studies. And so it's like everyday business clinic, basically. So if you want to attend, it's a paid session, but we're going to give out free tickets here. But if you want to attend, just say interested. If you're listening right now, just say interested to the number 080 35 20 2891. Now, to attend the Hexavian Strategy Brunch on Thursdays, just say interested to the number 080 35 20 2891. It's between 11 to 3. It's sound guys in a room dissecting business problem. Come with your business problem. We want to become the new oracle in VI, where people can just walk in with their business problem and we'll get it solved, and they go.
That's beautiful. You know, when you have a doctor on standby, you just live your life anyhow.
And you pay the bill anyhow.
Okay, so speaking of living anyhow, there are some things that can just happen sometimes, and we don't have. Sometimes we don't have control over them. It's called crisis in business. And before we went on that short break, we talked about us really, really dissecting how to manage those crises. You know, managing reputation and damage control. Does any known brand, is there any known brand that we can first of all learn from? Let's even learn from their mistakes, right? Any brand that couldn't manage a situation that it eventually led to their crash at some point?
Local, international, I can give you examples, but let me start with international. BlackBerry.
Oh, yeah.
BlackBerry. At some point, BlackBerry was controlling 60 to 70% of the total markets in the world for smartphones. People don't know that BlackBerry invented almost like the phone chat system, right? Which WhatsApp overtook, and or even the pop mail. Remember then, ping and stuff. But that was BlackBerry made so many PR errors. At the last tail, where they're trying to save themselves, they got Alicia Keys, the artist Alicia Keys, to become their creative director. You know, so Alicia Keys will go on Twitter and be tweeting that people should use the BlackBerry, but underneath you saw on that thing sent through iPhone. You know, BlackBerry then, like if you tweeted on iPhone early days, like you say sent through iPhone. Yes. So you're telling us to use BlackBerry as a creative director of BlackBerry, but you show that your stuff was sent through iPhone. That was a disaster. Like that was, and you can trust Apple. Apple will retweet it for them, right? You know, so people make very, very tacky errors sometimes, and you see, attention to detail is key. So that's a practical brand failure. So many other mistakes they did. The phone was hanging. They didn't communicate well what was going on, and then we bought a few years ago. There's a particular Samsung that was overheating, but I love what they did with that. But then I still think about some of those things every time I go to the airport. I travel quite a lot, and they have to ask me, do you have a power bank in your phone, in your bag, so you can not stay in? There's a time they just ask you, do you have a Samsung phone in your bag? You know,
that bad.
As in, you know, but how they've done well. The biggest battle of all time is what I call the soda war, the battle between Coke and Pepsi in terms of which is better. And in the 80s, I saw it was so amazing what Pepsi did to Coke. I mean, Pepsi led Coke to do a blind taste. Like, how do you do that? Like, why? Like, one of the brilliant things I would respect Bat for Tinubu is him not wanting to show up in. Now, this is not from a user perspective, from a PR perspective. Everybody knows what their strengths is and what their weaknesses are. You don't compete if you don't have a competitive advantage. The fact that he stayed off debates, right, is a solid PR strategy. Because the truth about it is, you're not going to put a Bat next to a Kwankwaso and next to a Obi. Right, Obi is the king of go and verify.
They are coming for you.
The doctors. No, but here's my commission: is the ability to. No, but the funny enough, this is even pro saying knowing when to stop is key. But this is really the key thing about So that BlackBerry story is a good example. Another one is the Boeing 747 crash. That happened in 1 year. I think it had 2-3 plane crashes from the same aircraft manufacturer. And they lost so much capitalization. Over 25 billion was lost that year in capitalization, right? $25 billion. But how they've bounced back is amazing. But that year, right, I think that they could have done better if you ask me. Their callback mechanism, I'm not sure how well they managed that. The best ever I've seen in terms of managing crisis is Lexus. Lexus, the Toyota Lexus. I mean, you guys just paid me for promos, but Lexus, a particular year, the year that I think the early stage where Toyota launched Lexus, you know, Toyota owns Lexus, right? It was so interesting because most people wouldn't move to Lexus because Lexus was supposed to be a luxury version of Toyota. So it was going to go head to head with luxury brand like Range Rover. Like, funny enough, I was telling somebody that I just want to notice that all of a sudden, Prado has become the official car for all top executives of government establishments. People don't realize that years ago it was Peugeot. If you grew up in the 90s,
it was
Peugeot was the official car of most
turbo engine.
Most of if you're an Ajay, but as a child, your pops probably had a Peugeot, a 504, 505 cylinder car. Then the normal guys now had Volvo, and so. But you see, I like what Toyota has done. Toyota beat US in their own soil, right? Toyota outsold the likes of Ford and Chrysler and GM. But here's the important thing: a particular year, stay with me in this conversation. It's an interesting story. A particular year when they launched the Lexus, there was a problem with a particular thing they need to recall. Now they didn't even need to recall. right? Because I mean, the problem is not life threatening. You should just leave it. You saw something, you find out there's a fault. 90% of the world would leave it like that. They've bought. They actually did not even just send an email. They made an announcement and say, look, there's a particular problem we have in this car. Please bring it back to our factory. Like, that was not enough. Email was not enough. They called everybody that bought a Lexus. Do you know how many thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that bought a Lexus, called each person to find out when they can come and pick the car? Now, it's not bring the car to a factory.
We're coming
to pick it up. That was so genius.
Yeah.
Picked it up, fixed it. They flew technicians to a new state, new country, just to pick up a car. That attention to detail was so important. When they returned the car, they made sure they filled it up full tank.
Wow.
Like people don't know how powerful, and that's the culture thing we'll talk about in business. That culture is so powerful. It's Japanese culture. Japanese are very honorable. If you watch the Qatar World Cup, you saw what the Japanese would do. Even if when they lose a match, they'll still take time and sweep the stadium. That thing created the modern day the takeover of Lexus in that market, in that luxury market. They're efficient, and I think people must learn how to do that. Go the extra mile to show your customers that you care. People don't care about how much you know till they know how much you care.
Eventually, and as a brand, people need come on. How many people are advertising to me? You need to care about me now. Advertisement has gone beyond what you're saying. It's about what you're doing, right? So we just have a very few minutes on this show. Very, very few minutes. So let's take this time out to give someone a ticket. What do you think?
Absolutely.
So what are we asking today? What question are we asking today?
Okay, so let me take a few minutes to explain something. For you to have a great brand, you must have steps. A great brand must have a great story, have a great trigger, that's partnership, have great emotional connections, have great practical value, and you must have great social currency. Steps. I'm not going to say it again, right? You can call in now and tell me what I just said about steps.
Oh my God. Who is going to take that call? 0818 008 9933. 0818 008 9933. Okay, call in and let us know what does a good brand have to have, the must-have of a good brand, especially when you want to manage crisis. These are the things that really, really help you to, most of the messages that you put out is based on these pillars. I want to call them pillars now, right? So tell us 0818 008 9933. Also, you can call on 0818 242 6591. That is 0818 242 6591. We've been having discussions and we've been having calls. But then it wasn't the time for us to pick calls. But now we are ready for you to call in. Yeah,
and if you have a business problem, you can just call and we'll try and solve it online.
Really?
Real time, yeah. Free consulting for the next 15 minutes.
Do we have time? We don't have time for that. Yeah. That would be a huge giveaway. But then just for recaps, I mean, that was too fast, right? So tell us, what exactly do we need to know? You said you have to have a good story.
Yeah, so there's an acronym for it. It's GO STEPS, STEPS. You must have a great story, right? Brand story. What's the story behind your brand? What's that big gigantic story or the thing you want to change, right? NASA was to put a man in space. Google is to make complex informations very simple and accessible to all, and that's why you see YouTube, that's why you see Android, that's why you see Google Map, that's why you see Gmail, that's why you see Google Search. You see, these are very complex information they made accessible to everyone. That's a big story. That's what the big gigantic story. So if you can't build a great brand if you don't have a great story, right? So look at what Elon Musk did with the great story, trying to just make sure that he reduces decarbonization, he does decarbonization of the ecosystem simply by making more less fossil fuel cars, and he's done pretty well with Tesla, right? And then you must have a great trigger, brand rubber from brands. Then E is emotions, right? You must emotionally connect to people. P is practical value, and S is social currency. Steps. Hope you remember it now when you call.
Okay, so the numbers are 0818-242-6591, 0818-242-6591. Then of course you can go in and call us on 0818-008-9933. Hi, good morning. Oh, please call back. That's that one. Still the same. Tell us the steps to building a good brand. Okay, and these are the things that would naturally help you to manage crisis. I mean, if you have crisis, all you need to do is tell your story again, right? In a very good way, trigger people, find a way to empathize, speak to their emotions, and of course, you need to do some practical movement as well. So really, 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 really important. Okay, so what exactly are we winning again? We have a brunch.
We have a brunch today and every Thursday. If you like knowledge, intellect, and you like food, we're combining food, drinks, and intelligence, right? And creative intelligence. So you want to attend. This is brought to you courtesy of Hexavian. Hexavian is a business and management consulting firm. By the way, if you're listening right now, you're CEO. Hope you've done your retreats or your trainings, because we're always available for retreat and training. Shout out to First Bank. I'm training First Bank tomorrow. I'm excited. Never trained First Bank. So I'm excited about that. So your team should be the one I'm training next, right? So the brunch is for CEOs, MDs, and management team. It's a paid session, but I'm ready to give you a discount. If you want to attend, just say interested, right? Say interested to the number 08035202891. I'll say that again. If you want to attend the brunch, right, or any of our other series, we have the breakfast with Eizu at Echo Hotel as well. Just say interested to the number 08035202891. Or you just need management consulting, restructuring, startup consulting. We're always here for you.
Exactly. We are always here for you. The business show is brought to you by Hexavian. And yes, from time to time, we come right here on Hot 93.3 FM every single Thursday morning at 9 a.m. to bring you all of the important information that we have. We understand that the streets are crazy right now. The queues are just a lot. We have deadlines. Now, you have normal deadlines, right, in your life, normal deadlines. And now we have societal deadlines, the deadline for collection of PVC. There is deadline for the
changing your notes.
Exactly. And then you still have to deal with fuel to go and meet these deadlines. It's just crazy. And people are trying their best not to. Yesterday, I saw a video. Actually, there are several videos. People are going mad.
Yeah.
A lady just went. She pulled her clothes. She was shouting in the bank. She was speaking Yoruba. I couldn't understand most of the things she was saying. But then you could see her frustration that she needs this money. She needs this money. What is this? Like, it was really, really, really so bad. And I mean, how much can we take? And of course, we know that means of income is not increasing. People that are collecting salaries, their salaries are not changing, right? So people have to deal with this issue. They have to live. They have to survive. But then, as a business, we are more concerned about you right here on the business show, right? So it's really, really important that you take advantage of every opportunity that you have, especially this brunch. We're going to be having like minds and people to come and have good conversations, right? And we want to give you the opportunity to come in and participate in case you want to join in on the brunch. It's happening this morning and every other Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yes, so
it's Thursday between 11 to 2. It's in VI. Just send interested and we'll send you the address. It's Okofa by me. If you're working, it's your lunch time. Just coming for lunch. It's an amazing concept we're trying to build.
Yeah.
I know we're not running mama puts. Like it's just something that it's a powerful. We need to start building solid power circles. So it's a power circle stuff. You want to attend? You're around VI and you're listening right now. You're a CEO. You run a business that has staff. Just send interested to the number 08035202891. The first 5 people, I'm going to give you a discount.
No, but really, is it fair that you're only getting people that have staff? What are people that are dreaming? I mean, like aspiring business owners. Can't we come?
Men are in sizes. Men are in sizes.
Okay, 0818-242-6591. 0818-242-6591. And then the WhatsApp number to call 0818-0089933. You want to comment on anything we've discussed this morning? We are here for you. We lost you. Please call us. I don't know if we are having some technical issues taking calls, but let's see if we can be able to resolve that. Okay, seems like. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, finally we resolved the issues. Nice to have you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Shegun is my name, calling from Ikeja.
Welcome, Shegun. It's nice to have you on the show. First of all, could you tell us most of those keys, those steps you need to take to manage a good brand?
Okay. The steps, S for story.
Okay.
T for trigger.
Trigger, okay.
E for emotional connection.
Great. Continue.
Then P for practical value.
All right.
Then X for social capital, I think.
Just send us your details. Oh, that's great, Shegun. It's nice to have a winner on the show. Great. Okay. Please go on our WhatsApp portal and leave us a message so that we can send you the address. How you can come in and participate is on 0818 00 89933. That is 0818 00 89933. Wow, we are so excited this morning. Okay, so we can't wait to meet you, Shegun, right? Thank you so much for joining in, listening in, learning, and of course participating on the show. Sorry, guys, those of you called in, we already have a winner. We can't take your calls anymore. But don't worry, we'll do this again next Thursday. The time is 9 a.m. Keep a date with us. Remember, this is the business show is brought to you by Hexavian. And I am Daisy, and this is Eizu looking all smiley this morning because he has a winner. I'm sure he's so excited to meet Shegun this afternoon or this brunch. I don't know. What do we call it now? Morning, afternoon?
Brunch. Brunch is a combination of breakfast and lunch. So brunch.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. This year is going to be great for us. It's been great so far for me. I hope it's going to be great for you. And that depends on your level of strategic thinking. I'm always available to come into your company to restructure or just have a session or a prep talk with all of you guys, right? So once again, the name of the company is Hexavian. Hexavian, you can follow us on Instagram. Eizu is my name, and by the way, this is also a podcast that I can always go back to listen to. If you have an iPhone, on your podcast platform is on Spotify, it's on Anchor and all that. So guys, hope it was worth your time. If you want to contact us for strategy sessions or for restructuring or to be a part of the brunch or the breakfast series that we have, just say interested to the number 080 35 20 28 91. I'll say that again. Just say interested to the number 080 35 20 28 91. We have an amazing WhatsApp group, by the way. You want to be a part of that WhatsApp, please send interested as well. CEOs Network.